Hey everyone, Summer here with Astaria Sen. And I wanted to jump on the hashtag that Candy did with Candy Soul and Soil, the hashtag of the curiosity decks. I don't have a lot of curiosity decks. It's this idea of what would you put in your curiosity cabinet, which stems back from, vintage Victorian times when they would keep really interesting things in a cabinet to show off to people. And so I thought about that aspect, like what kind of decks do I like to show off to people, and why do I like to show them off, right? So I took that aspect and I've got kind of a mix, a couple tarot and a couple oracle, because I just don't have a lot of tarot that I would consider necessarily a curiosity. There are decks I'd like to protect. There are decks that I use for different things, but as far as like when I'm like all excited about something and I want to show off a deck to like say my daughter who's into tarot too or something like that, it usually boils down to the art or how something is portrayed, whether it's in the theme of it, the art of it, or how something is described in the book or something like that. That's how I generally go about curiosities. It's more on what I'd want to show off, what I'd want to explore with somebody, or what I'd want to share with my daughter because I think it's neat or interesting, or share with you guys or whatever, something like that, right? Now, over the years, I've had several kinds of curiosity decks that would totally fit this profile, but currently I do not. The ones that I do have are the ones that I have kept because I felt the need to keep them as my curiosities. Some of them I do use, some of them sit on my shelf and are there for when I want to show somebody something. Aha, right? That's the whole point of the curiosity cabinet. So anyways, I'm going to get on with this. Again, I don't have a lot. So one of my favorites, my very top one that I would consider my favorite like curiosity deck, is the Fairy Lights Tarot. And if you've been on my channel in any way, shape, or form, you know I do all sorts of stuff with Fairy Tarot, Fairy Oracle, but you also know that I happen to like the Fairy Lights Tarot quite a bit. The reason why is because I love how it takes two of the tarot cards to create one picture, because the artist who actually created the art for the deck put two cards together. Let me see. I was not prepared for this part because I kind of just did it spur of the moment. So let me see if I can find real quick just any. I think it'd be this one, wouldn't it? Maybe not that one. Anyways, as I'm talking, I will find one for you guys. But anyways, so there's just a lot that goes into this deck that you just would not expect. When you put the pictures together, because he created one whole picture and then he kind of like cut it in half. And one picture might be major arcana or it might not. And the other one might be major arcana or it might not. It's just a variety of set cards. So let's see. We have... Yikes. I haven't gone through this deck in so long. It's one of those weird things. Like I have to remember how it goes. Yeah. So there we go. That might be one right there. Isn't this the one that goes with it? I think it is the one that goes with it. It might be the one that goes with it. Yeah. Okay. So for example, I have Death and the Nine of Coins. That creates a whole picture. I'm pretty sure that's how that goes. Something like this. So you have this whole picture that's been cut in half. One card is the Nine of Coins, one card is Death. So I mean, I find it very interesting how the cards go together, and it changes the reading too, which is why I find it kind of put in that curiosity cabinet style deck for sure. But all of the cards are like that. So when I do readings with it, even for myself, I always make sure that I double check what the secondary card would be if it doesn't already come out in the deck. And then the next one I have, which I just enjoy, is the Fairy Tarot. Not Fairy Lights, but just the Fairy Tarot. This deck is playful. Now, I always keep it in the box, but it hates being closed up. Like seriously, it's always open because it does not. It just keeps popping open no matter what I do. I could just set it here on the table and it'll just keep popping open. I consider that a curiosity. I do. But the artwork itself is very, you know, normal kind of RWS artwork. You know, you got some pip style kind of looking stuff, and then you have the Major Arcana. This is one of my favorite cards in it. But I like how quirky these cards are, how playful they are. They're very playful deck. Don't get me wrong, when they read, they still have a seriousness about them. But look at that face. Like seriously, how could you not? How could you not, right? I just love it. It's just super, it's a super cute deck in all honesty. And even though it has these weird quirkiness things to them, it's still completely like readable, and you can interact with it really well. They read similar to how I would expect a fairy to play, if that makes any sense whatsoever. It's not necessarily that they are tricking you, but you also have to consider, like, check this out. Check out that face. Like, you know, he's pushing that boulder over onto something, right? I mean, so it's one of those ones, like, they know this is going to happen to you, and yeah, that kind of thing. Like, they kind of sometimes might be laughing at you because of what they already know based off the cards. So I really enjoy the Fairy Tarot. It is quirky. It is hard for me to read with it just because they're so playful, and I'm actually more of a literal person. And even though I give off some interesting fae energy and even playful energy at times, I'm quite literal, quite focused kind of person. So the vibe of the cards doesn't exactly match the kind of vibe that I use when I'm reading. So it's not a deck I just jump into reading with, hence why it would end up in my cabinet as something that I would like to show people or have fun, you know, playing tricks on them with the tarot or something like that, like show them how it would read via the fae like that. So the other one I have is the Royo Dark Tarot. This has the artist Louis Royo in it, and I really enjoy his artwork. This one is more like the macabre, more like that dark twisty stuff that a lot of other tarot people in the community doing this hashtag have talked about, which you can kind of see here. You may find some of these images less than appealing, but it is one of those decks that does have that macabre aspect. I would put it in my curiosity cabinet for the fact that it is Louis Royo's art and how all the cards are portrayed via his art. One of the ones that I like the most, and it's one of those ones that is definitely more on the side of you might not want to see it, so avert your eyes if you really aren't interested in looking into something a little more, I guess, risque. But I'll show you like one of my favorite cards. Oh, and it's such a weird card to be my favorite in this deck because it's not one of the ones that's my favorite in all the decks, but I do find it interesting, and it's the Hanged Man, and it's the way the card is portrayed. So this is the Hanged Man. You know, I told you that it's a little bit risque. It's got, you know, let me see if I can get it to like, I hope you can see it. There's a little bit of a glare from the sun and everything, but he's the Hanged Man on here. And yeah, she's the one in control. She's the one who's not tied down, stuff like that. He is hanging. He doesn't have control over the situation, etc. So it's really interesting portrayal of the Hanged Man. And I would like to work more with this deck in the aspect of trying to understand what some of the key points of the cards come across as, because they're just a little bit different than what I'm used to, especially when I'm used to a lot of fae energy cards and playfulness there. But then that also brings me into like another it's darker too, but it's also not necessarily a dark deck. It and I consider it both a tarot and like an oracle deck. And it's the Fairy Enchantments deck. And the reason why I do consider it part of the tarot, not just oracle, is because he actually says in the book which cards would be represented as a regular tarot card. He does say that in the book. And I'm not going to be able to find it right offhand, but this is also one of those darker decks. It has darker energy about it. It's not quite as risque as the Louis Royo deck, but I could definitely feel like a Royo influence in this if I'm really looking at it. And it's not necessarily that the deck itself is dark or even that the images are necessarily super dark, but it does have that underlying fae energy of that there's not always just a good side to them, right? They're not always just lighthearted. They're not always just sweet or innocent or what they're even portrayed in movies or anything like that. You get like this, even with this one, like there's almost like a siren feel about it. Like, yeah, you can come, it's alluring and everything else, but there's going to be consequences for you taking those steps forward, which is something I really do like about this deck. But also on the back, and this is where it pulls into that curiosity, is different meanings are on the back of the cards. You put them together and you get something so unique. And I haven't seen it in any other deck. And anybody who has seen me use this deck knows what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I would highly recommend that you look up the Fairy Enchantments deck by Ian Daniels and take a look at some of the videos that are out there about it, because it would just take too long for me to explain all in this video what it actually does and how to use the backs of the cards and everything. Again, it's one of those really great decks that I very much enjoy, and I could put it with Oracle or I could put it with Tarot. I put it with Tarot because he puts it with Tarot in the book and you can read it that way, but I don't even just use it as a tarot or oracle deck. I use it as a ritual deck or a manifestation deck or a sigil deck, those kinds of things, because it's got so much content available in the deck that it's really quite astounding. It's quite astounding, and I very much enjoy it. And I love the artwork, of course. And look at the back of the box. Like, how cool is that, right? Absolutely stunning. Okay, and then I got two more. That's it. Then I'm done. And they're both oracles. The next two are actually indie oracles. I got both of them off Etsy. The first one is, and I hate the box. Like, I swear, like, the box is the worst thing ever. It already fell apart on me and everything when I got it. This is by Samantha Sawyer, and it's the Primrose and Pros Oracle deck. And the reason why it's Primrose and Pros is the Primrose part is like the images on the card, and then the Pros part is actually the description of the deck. So this is the back of them, and I really love the coloring, but I also like this rainbow effect that's on all the cards. And I'm not going to say that this has like super dark undertones or anything like that, but I really do love the artwork that is in this deck. Like, I do love the artwork, but it also has like this poetry that goes with the artwork. Like that card right there, this is Reflection. This card is Reflection, the one I just showed you. Let me see if I can get there we go. So when you come into the booklet, it actually reads like poem form. All of it reads kind of like poem form. So if I go to Reflection, where are we at? Solitude, Reflection. So then it gives you adjectives. Oh man, my camera does not want to zoom in very well, but it gives you adjectives on this side. So you get lost, yearning, hopeless, and amorotic. And it's just kind of words to go by, but then it gives you a little poem that goes with it. And the Reflection poem says, solemnly, the blind raven croons, perched in shelter on a lazy afternoon, mournfully wobbling to the soft auburn leaves, trapped in darkness under the autumn leaves. So, or autumn eaves, sorry. But so there's poetry that goes with it, which really lends to a unique reading when you're reading with these cards. So I do enjoy it, but it's not a very big deck at all. It's a very small deck. And like I said, this box is like the worst box ever. It is the worst box ever. Okay, and then the last one that I have, again, another indie I got off Etsy. It's called Journey to the Heart. It's also a fairy deck. It comes in this cute little tin, and it is a cute little deck. And I would put it in my Curiosities cabinet because I like how the art style is on the cards. They're kind of like, they kind of reminded me of junk journaling, and I love junk journaling. And it's where you take, junk journaling is where you take like all the trash, right? All your trash, mail or papers or scraps or whatever, and then you put it all together to create this junk journal, and you can paint over the top of it, and you can create new things out of old things. And I like that aspect, and I get a lot of that with this deck. Like when I'm looking at it, that's the kind of stuff I'm reminded of. Even though they are fairies, they have, you know, words that go along with them, like this one's forgive. And as an oracle deck, when you're reading with this, this is one of those great cards like to pull for like a meditation setting, or to pull at the end of the evening, like if you want to dream about something specific and you want kind of like a dreamy card. What is this one? Purificate. This one's purification. So there's really, it's just really cute artwork. It's got that kind of junk journal-y arty style that I really enjoy in a lot of different things in my life. And it pulls into that curiosity just because the artwork is so stunning and so unique to me. And I just jive really well with the energy. And I think if somebody just wanted like a one card reading, I'd pull one of these for them. Though there's nothing special necessarily about the way the booklet reads. And it's actually, she just sends it in like this sheet of paper. But like if you take this one, which is friendship, that's this one, right? So friendship, it says a lovely combination of the passion flower and bindweed represents friendship, healthy friendships with healthy boundaries. So it's really telling you like something you can concentrate on, and that's what I like about it. She's not giving you a lot of details in her descriptions or telling you which way to really go. She just kind of points you in a direction, and then like I said, it'd be good for meditation because you kind of just get to meditate on it and like think about it, and gratitude can come in, and just positive feelings can come in, and you guys know I'm all about the positive. So those would be my decks for my curiosity cabinet. That's what would be my decks, and it was really fun to do this and kind of put them together. I've really enjoyed other people's, but I'm going to continue watching them as they come up. So I hope you guys have a very great day.